If you want your Thunkable app to work with real data instead of static content, integrating Airtable is one of the simplest ways to do it. Airtable acts like a lightweight database that you can update in real time, and Thunkable can connect to it through its data source tools or API-based integration. Start by opening Thunkable in your web browser and selecting the project you want to connect with Airtable. Once your project loads, go to the area where data sources are managed. In newer Thunkable versions, especially those using AI-assisted setup, you may also be able to request this through the chat by describing what you want, such as connecting Airtable as a data source for storing and retrieving records. Next, open Airtable in a separate tab and create or select a base that contains the data you want to use. This could be anything like a list of products, tasks, users, or entries for a simple app. Make sure your table is structured properly, with clear column names because these will act as your fields when you connect it to Thunkable. Inside Airtable, generate your API key or personal access token, and note your base ID. These two pieces of information are essential because they allow Thunkable to securely communicate with your Airtable database. Also make sure your table permissions allow read or write access depending on what your app needs to do. Now return to Thunkable and begin setting up the connection. If your version supports direct data source integration, you will be prompted to enter your Airtable credentials. You'll input the base ID, API key, or token, and the table name you want to connect to. Once entered, Thunkable will attempt to establish a link between your app and the Airtable database. After the connection is successful, your Airtable data becomes accessible inside your app. You can now retrieve records and display them in components like lists, labels, or repeating views. For example, if your Airtable contains a list of tasks, your app can automatically pull those tasks and show them on the screen. You can also configure your app to write data back to Airtable. This means users can submit forms, and the information will be stored directly in your Airtable base in real time. This is especially useful for apps like surveys, booking systems, inventories, or simple CRUD applications. If your Thunkable version is more AI-driven, you can also simply use the chat feature to request integration. You can say something like connect this project to Airtable and use this table for storing and retrieving data, and the system will guide or generate the required setup automatically. Once everything is connected, it's important to test the integration. Run your app in live preview mode and check if data is being correctly fetched from Airtable and displayed in your app. Also test whether new entries are properly saved back to the database. From here, you can continue expanding your app by adding filters, search functions, or multiple tables depending on your use case. Airtable essentially turns your Thunkable app into a dynamic, data-driven application without needing a traditional backend. And that's how you can integrate Airtable as a data source in Thunkable. You simply prepare your Airtable base, connect it through the data source settings or AI chat, and then use it to power real-time data inside your app.